Bathed in moonlight, with the night breeze gently brushing against the window pane, Lin Huan closed her eyes in the warm bath, thinking she'd merely sneak in a brief nap, unaware this moment of peace would become a fork in the road of fate. Just as her lashes fell and the warmth of bubbles still lingered on her fingertips, her body suddenly dropped as if pulled by invisible hands, and in the blink of an eye, she plunged into icy lake water. The chill bit into her skin. She thrashed desperately, arms flailing, trying to grasp the familiar edge of her bathtub, but there was nothing but endless, unyielding water. Chaos swirled in her chest as her breathing scattered. Forcing herself to calm down, she opened her eyes, and was shocked to find herself in an entirely unfamiliar place. Reflected on the water's surface were towering ancient trees and a sky of foreign stars. The surroundings were silent, surreal. She felt like a paper boat swept into the tide of a world not her own. Lin Huan blinked and muttered to herself, "This has to be a dream." Clinging to denial, she tried to rationalize the absurdity of what she saw. To test the truth, she pinched her arm hard. Her knuckles turned pale, fingernails dug into flesh, and a sharp sting pierced through. The pain wasn't fleeting. It was real, raw, and searing, crawling up her nerves and shaking the illusion from her heart. She stared at the reddened mark in silence. And then it hit her. This wasn't a dream, not some illusion of the senses. She had crossed into another time and space, truly and irreversibly. Just as her mind spiraled with questions, a strange sound echoed from the shoreline, low, eerie, like whispers twisted with wind and beast, making her spine tingle with unease. Her heart dropped into her stomach as if reality itself had frozen her in place. If a wild beast really appeared, she'd be nothing more than its next meal, her life swiftly snuffed out. Lin Huan tightly shut her eyes, her breath a shallow, anxious rhythm. She forced herself to lie still in the cold water, her mind gripped by fear, suffocating her with every passing second. She silently prayed, desperately wishing that when she opened her eyes again, she'd find herself back in the comfort of her own warm bathtub, with everything returning to normal and all the fear dissolving. Yet when she slowly opened her eyes, the scene before her shattered all her hopes. A pair of legs as thick as a bull's moved steadily towards her, each step heavy and deliberate, as if the very earth beneath him trembled with his weight. Her body froze, heart racing, ready to leap from her chest. She snapped to attention, leaping out of the water in a panic, but before she could react, a strong hand was already lifting her. The hand seized her effortlessly, like a small chick in the claws of a predator. Lin Huan had barely recovered from the cold of the water when she was hoisted up, her vision swimming. Her mind was a blur, utterly confused by the turn of events, but one thing was unmistakable: this man's face. He was so handsome it seemed out of place, entirely disconnected from the chaos she was experiencing. His eyes locked onto her, his gaze intense and almost predatory, as if silently declaring, "What a cute little female." Lin Huan felt a shiver crawl down her spine. His gaze seemed to pierce through her, and her heart raced uncontrollably, every nerve on edge, as if her very soul was bared under his scrutiny. Instinctively she looked down, only to be blinded by the sight before her. Her eyes nearly burned from the overwhelming image, too bright to bear, as if struck by a bolt of lightning that left her frozen in place. "You perverted freak. Put some clothes on." The words tumbled out of her, a reflex driven by a mixture of anger and shame, her voice trembling with indignation. Tears quickly welled up in her eyes, large droplets shimmering with unshed emotion, as the absurdity of the situation threatened to drown her in helplessness, leaving her teetering on the edge of despair. The man, witnessing her distress, felt a pang of guilt stir in his chest. He hurriedly reassured her, "I won't hurt you, I promise." His tone, soft and sincere, carried an emotion he hadn't expected. Lin Huan, finally relaxing her guard just a fraction, spoke, her voice tinged with a complex blend of emotions. "Then put me down." There was a trace of something almost vulnerable in her request. The man carefully set her down, his hands gentle as if afraid of causing her any pain. The moment her feet touched the ground, she felt the comforting steadiness of reality return. Without hesitation, Lin Huan shot forward, running faster than she'd ever thought possible, her movements swift as if propelled by an invisible force, escaping into the unknown. The man watched her retreating figure with a bemused smile, a playful glint in his eyes. "You're too slow. No matter how fast you run, I'll catch up with you." Hearing his words, Lin Huanhuan's steps faltered. A burst of frustration mixed with a touch of helplessness washed over her, and she turned to face him with a cold remark. "Then could you at least put some clothes on?" The man shrugged nonchalantly, a smirk playing at the corners of his mouth. "I'm bathing, of course I'm naked. Aren't you too?" Lin Huanhuan was on the brink of tears, but couldn't shed a single one. The man's words left her speechless, rendering her completely mute, no matter how many words swirled in her mind. Out of the corner of her eye, something caught her attention. Her gaze flicked to the object, and her heart skipped a beat when she realized it was clothing. She quickly reached for it, pulling it from the water, only to find that it was her own towel, drenched with water, adding a layer of discomfort to her already tangled thoughts. "Little female, where's your mail?" His gaze sharpened as if laced with an undeniable mockery and challenge. Lin Huanhuan froze, her mind going blank. She couldn't make sense of what the man was saying. What did he mean by female and male? The unfamiliar terms spun around in her head, but they couldn't form a coherent thought. The man gave a cold smile, his eyes gleaming with contempt. "My name is Bai Di, I'm a male beast and you're a female." His voice carried a finality as though it was a fact set in stone. At those words, Lin Huanhuan's eyes widened in shock, as if she had been jolted from a deep slumber. Her mind flooded with 1,000 questions, all racing for answers. In that moment she realized the truth. She had crossed into a completely alien world, a world of beastmen, one filled with dangers and uncertainties. Just as she stood there, lost and confused, Bai Di suddenly moved, his actions swift and powerful, like a predator ready to strike. Every movement he made exuded an intimidating force that seemed to fill the air. In the blink of an eye, the scene before her changed utterly. He transformed into a magnificent white tiger, its imposing form radiating an almost suffocating aura, as if the very heavens had dimmed in its presence. Lin Huanhuan staggered backward in terror, her legs giving way beneath her. With a misstep, she tumbled into the cold lake, the water splashing up around her as though the world itself had cast her aside in that moment of helplessness. "If this is a nightmare, please let me wake up soon," she whispered in her mind, a prayer filled with endless fear and confusion, as if only this could break the nightmare's grip on her. But reality was cruel, a slap to her face, harsh and unrelenting. She hadn't woken up. Everything around her was painfully real and there was no escape. When she regained consciousness once more, she realized with shock that she was sprawled on the back of the massive tiger, her limbs weak, her heart racing like thunder. Instinctively, Lin Huanhuan reached out, her fingers brushing against the cold tiger fur. In that moment, as if in a dream, she touched it softly, marveling at how soft it was, almost like a thick blanket, warm and unfamiliar. Just as she was lost in confusion, a deep voice echoed in her ear. "You're awake at last." Bai Di's tone was filled with a cold, unwavering authority, like a calm declaration of truth. Lin Huanhuan's eyes widened in shock, her breath catching in her throat. Her mind struggled to grasp the reality of what was happening. She stammered, "It's not a blanket. It's tiger fur." As the words left her lips, a chill shot down her spine, her body trembling uncontrollably, as if the gravity of her situation had hit her all at once, more terrifying than any nightmare. Bai Di observed her reaction, a flicker of something inscrutable passing through his gaze. A faint smile tugged at the corner of his mouth, and with a slow, deliberate motion, he decided to stop his stride, easing his pace as if allowing her time to adjust. In the next instant, Bai Di performed a mysterious transformation technique, watching as his massive beast form shrank and reshaped itself into the figure of a handsome man. His physique remained imposing, yet he was no longer the terrifying white tiger that had towered above her. Once the transformation was complete, Bai Di leapt forward without hesitation. Light as a breeze, he barely paused before landing gracefully on a large tree branch nearby, as if he had never left the shelter of the trees. Turning to face Lin Huanhuan, his gaze softened, but there was an undeniable authority in his voice as he spoke. "Stay here and don't make any rash moves." His tone was gentle yet commanding, leaving no room for objection. Without another word, Bai Di began unbuckling the skin garment around his waist, his movements steady and deliberate, as if preparing for something far more important than simply removing his clothing. Lin Huanhuan watched in stunned silence, but her panic soon overtook her. She could no longer hold back, letting out a sharp scream. "Perverted freak! What are you doing?" Her voice was shrill and frantic, as though the scream was the only way to hold on to her sanity. However, Bai Di ignored her panic. He drew a gleaming knife from his waist, its blade catching the light with a cold gleam, and without a second thought, threw both the knife and his skin garment toward Lin Huanhuan. In an instant he transformed back into the mighty white tiger, his body shifting in a flash as he leapt from the tree with the grace and speed of a predator, vanishing into the night. Lin Huanhuan stood frozen, unable to comprehend what had just happened. The question lingered in her mind: what was this white tiger going to do? The answer came swiftly. Bai Di was hunting wild boars. His powerful form glided through the night, blending with the darkness like a predator on the prowl. The wild boar, sensing danger, bolted, its hooves pounding the earth as it fled in terror, the ground scattering in its wake. Who could outrun a fierce tiger? As soon as the wild boar turned, Bai Di pounced with lightning speed, his teeth sinking into its throat like razor-sharp blades. In that moment the entire night seemed to hold its breath. Lin Huanhuan stood frozen, her eyes wide with disbelief. She could almost hear the sound of his jaws closing, shivers running down her spine. That biting force is terrifying. "I'm not even enough to fill his teeth," she murmured, her heartbeat racing uncontrollably. Once the wild boar was dealt with, Bai Di turned and looked up at Lin Huanhuan still perched on the tree. His voice was low and commanding. "Come down. Are you kidding me? If I jump from this height I'll end up crippled." Her heart was racing as she gazed at the sheer drop below, the height almost a bottomless abyss. Lin Huanhuan clung to the branch, her mind a whirlwind of indecision. She hesitated, unable to take the plunge, every instinct screaming at her to stay put. Bai Di watched her struggle, a flicker of impatience in his eyes. With a swift movement, he leapt from the tree and appeared beside her in an instant. In one seamless motion he wrapped his arms around her and effortlessly jumped from the tree, his movements so fluid that Lin Huanhuan barely had time to react before her feet left the ground. Lin Huanhuan, still stunned by the speed and agility, gripped his shoulders tightly as they descended, the rush of wind making her heart leap into her throat. Bai Di took the knife from her hand, moving with practiced ease as he swiftly began skinning the wild boar. The blade gleamed under the moonlight, its movements precise and efficient, as if this was second nature to him. The sound of the blade scraping against the boar's hide echoed in the stillness. Each snap, 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 a chilling reminder of his skill, his actions as smooth and ritualistic as any seasoned hunter. After skillfully processing the hide, Bai Di draped the sturdy wild boar pelt over Lin Huanhuan's shoulders. The warmth and weight of the fur pressed against her skin, carrying the essence of nature itself, calming her frayed nerves. As she absorbed the sudden change, a sharp ding echoed in her ears, like the notification of a mysterious system. The sound was followed by a line of text that appeared before her. "Congratulations, host. You have obtained 1 wild boar hide. Newbie quest triggered. Collect 3 animal pelts to receive a Newbie gift pack." The message hit her like a bolt of lightning. Lin Huanhuan froze for a moment, her mind blank as the words settled in. She stared at the text, completely caught off guard, until Bai Di's voice snapped her out of her stupor. She hurriedly looked up at Bai Di's calm, composed expression, then realized that she was no longer in the world she once knew. With a touch of hesitation she murmured, "That tiger monster. Bai Di, thank you." At her flustered yet sincere words, Bai Di's gaze softened, a hint of warmth flickering in his eyes. That gentle look seemed to melt the cold heart of the little tiger completely. Without a word, Bai Di took out a fresh piece of raw meat, still dripping with bright red blood, and offered it to her, asking in a low voice, "Want to eat some meat?" Lin Huanhuan recoiled at the sight of the bloody meat, feeling a wave of nausea wash over her. She quickly stepped back, shaking her head. "No thank you." Her throat felt dry and her emotions were a mess. Seeing her refusal, Bai Di didn't press further. He simply turned away, walking with quiet elegance as if it was nothing more than a trivial matter to him. A few minutes later, Bai Di returned, carrying a variety of fresh fruits, their vibrant colors and sweet aroma filling the air. Lin Huanhuan's eyes lit up as she saw the fruits, feeling a warm, welcoming sense of comfort from them, as though they were a gift from his otherwise cold world. Lin Huanhuan casually picked up a fruit and took a bite. The juice burst in her mouth, its sweet taste immediately grounding her in reality. Bai Di's gaze fell on her actions, a hint of curiosity in his eyes. Only fruits, no meat? Are you some kind of herbivorous beast man? His tone held a light laugh as if amused. Lin Huanhuan chuckled awkwardly, trying to brush it off. I guess I'm an omnivore, she replied, attempting to sound casual despite her discomfort. She swallowed the fruit, then added, I just don't eat raw meat. But I do enjoy cooked meat. Her voice was soft, yet firm in its certainty. Bai Di listened intently but seemed perplexed. His brow furrowed as he asked, How do you make cooked meat? He clearly had no idea how humans prepared their food. Lin Huanhuan thought for a moment, then her eyes suddenly brightened. First you need fire. Have you ever seen fire? She asked, a spark of excitement lighting up in her gaze. Bai Di's brow furrowed slightly as he seemed to recall something, finally nodding once. I've seen it, but... His voice trailed off, his eyes betraying a hint of hesitation. Fire's destructive power is too terrifying for beastmen, he continued, his words laced with caution and concern. Lin Huanhuan could sense that fire was far more dangerous in this world than she had ever imagined. Lin Huanhuan paused, then an idea struck her like a bolt of lightning. Drilling wood to make fire. She blurted out as if she had just discovered the key to the puzzle. At first, she was filled with confidence and determination, her mind brimming with hope as though all the challenges ahead could be easily overcome with this new idea. However, after half an hour of attempting to drill the wood, not even a wisp of smoke appeared. The fire remained as elusive as a distant dream, and her patience began to wear thin. She continued for another 2 hours, but still no success. At last, she exploded in frustration. The TV was right, it's all a lie, she nearly screamed, overwhelmed by anger and disappointment. Seeing her distress, Bai Di walked over, gently taking her hand, which was covered in blisters and cuts. His touch was tender, as if silently trying to soothe her pain. He lowered his head and softly kissed the back of her hand, the warmth of his lips sending a shock through her, causing her heart to race unexpectedly. His voice was soft but unwavering. Stop trying. I'll take you to find fire. You are my female, and whatever you want, I'll get it for you. His tone held no hesitation, filled with both resolve and affection. Lin Huanhuan froze, shocked by his words. Her heart pounded in her chest as she suddenly pushed Bai Di away, her voice trembling with intensity. I am no one's female. Her words were sharp, tinged with an almost desperate defiance. Despite her fierce reaction, Bai Di's gaze remained gentle and unshaken. His eyes spoke of a quiet determination, as if his feelings for her would not waver, no matter her resistance. He gently took her hand again, his warmth offering an unspoken comfort, as though his touch held all the patience in the world. Lowering his head, Bai Di softly kissed her fingertips, his voice a hushed promise. You don't have to fear. I will protect you. His words settled deep within her, like a seed of warmth taking root in her heart. Lin Huanhuan gazed at Bai Di, his powerful yet tender form standing before her. He seemed like an immovable force, yet also a peaceful haven. She suddenly found herself unable to untangle the complex emotions stirring within her. Suddenly, Lin Huanhuan couldn't help but remember her childhood, a time of solitary existence that seemed to silently stir waves in her heart. At the age of 5, after her parents passed away, she had to start living on her own, forced to face each unknown tomorrow with nothing but her own strength. She had long become accustomed to the world where no one protected her, where she learned to rely solely on herself and hide the fragility and loneliness deep inside. Bai Di gently pulled her into his embrace, his arm like an invisible wall of protection, the warmth of his presence surrounding her as though it could erase all fear and uncertainty. This was the first time Lin Huanhuan had felt such warmth since her parents' death, and to her surprise, this warmth came from a beast man. She was momentarily stunned, and a mix of emotions she couldn't quite put into words swelled inside her. She pushed away Bai Di's hand, speaking hurriedly, I'm fine now. She tried to make her voice sound light, but the complexity of her emotions couldn't quite be hidden. Bai Di, clearly puzzled, narrowed his eyes at her, his tone laced with concern. If you're fine, then why did you faint earlier? Lin Huanhuan muttered quietly to herself, almost inaudibly. Wasn't it because of you, that white tiger? Her tone carried a bit of helplessness and complaint, yet there was also a hint of playful sarcasm. However, Bai Di didn't seem bothered by her tone. His voice became even more resolute as he stated, "You are my female. Even if you die, I will never leave." The words hit her like a hammer, sending a chill down her spine. Lin Huanhuan felt goosebumps break out all over her body, her heart racing uncontrollably. The only thing echoing in her mind was that declaration, heavy with possessiveness and an unsettling intensity. Suddenly, Lin Huanhuan remembered the system task. Her eyes brightened as a thought struck her. That's right, the task requires more animal pelts. She turned to Bai Di and quietly said, "Can you bring me a few more animal pelts?" Her tone was a mix of anticipation and caution. Bai Di, seemingly understanding her request, quickly shifted back into his beast form. Without hesitation, he exposed his private parts, completely unashamed. Lin Huanhuan was taken aback, her face flushed as she exclaimed, "My eyes." However, her gaze inevitably drifted over Bai Di's upper body, her mind in turmoil. It was then that she noticed the wounds on Bai Di's arm. Blood was still fresh, the gashes clearly visible, and his body was marked with deep scars. Lin Huanhuan gently touched the injured arm, her heart aching as she looked at him with tenderness. The little tiger seemed to sense her affection and excitedly jumped at her, rubbing its body against hers like a clingy cat. In that moment, Bai Di resembled a big cuddly cat full of warmth and dependence. He then turned around to clean the blood off his body, moving with practiced ease and decisiveness. Lin Huanhuan waved her hand at him, signaling that he didn't need to worry too much, assuring him that she wasn't frightened. Suddenly, a clear ding echoed, followed by the system's notification. "Congratulations, host. You have completed the Newbie task and the Newbie gift pack is about to be distributed." The next second, Lin Huanhuan felt a slight warmth in her palm. Looking down, she saw a small package had appeared out of thin air, seemingly materializing from the air itself. She cautiously opened the package, still filled with some doubt, expecting it to be filled with worthless items. The first thing she saw was a shabby piece of wood, and for a moment disappointment settled in her chest. However, to her utter surprise, the old stick emitted a faint glow. She widened her eyes, shocked to realize that it was actually fire tinder. Without hesitation, Lin Huanhuan took the tinder and quickly struck it against two stones. Sparks flew, and before long a torch was lit, its flames brightening the surrounding darkness. Now with the fire lit, she eagerly continued to search through the package, hoping to uncover more treasures hidden inside. After a few more moments, she found a thick, comprehensive guide to flora and fauna, the cover depicting vivid illustrations of plants and animals, as though it were a valuable treasure trove of knowledge. Just as she was admiring the book, a sound of footsteps approached from behind. Turning around, she saw Bai Di walking toward her, his steps steady and commanding, his presence as imposing as ever. Lin Huanhuan immediately realized she shouldn't let him see these items. She quickly packed everything back into the bundle, her heart racing as she hurriedly concealed the treasures, her eyes flashing with a hint of nervousness. A faint smirk curled at the corner of Bai Di's mouth, his eyes glinting with playful amusement. "Seems like my little female has a few secrets of her own." His tone was light, yet there was an underlying tease that made Lin Huanhuan feel a sudden unease. Soon they arrived at the Wolf Clan's settlement. The atmosphere around them thickened, and in the distance, the beastmen of the tribe appeared imposing and mighty, each one towering like a living fortress. The beastmen here were massive, their muscles rippling with power. Every step they took seemed to shake the earth beneath them, exuding an aura of raw strength. By contrast, Lin Huanhuan stood among them like a fragile little pet, small and delicate in their towering presence, completely dwarfed by their size. Bai Di, noticing her hesitation and discomfort, suddenly grabbed her, lifting her effortlessly as if she were a lightweight kitten. "Females are very precious," he murmured, his tone taking on a serious edge. "Be careful or the wolves might have you for dinner, turning you into nothing but scraps." His voice held a subtle warning and his eyes were sharp with vigilance. The words sent a cold shiver down Lin Huanhuan's spine, and she couldn't help but shudder. The tension in the air intensified, and an eerie chill seemed to spread throughout her body. She looked ahead and saw a group of wolf beasts surrounding a female, their eyes filled with possessiveness, creating an oppressive atmosphere that teetered on the edge of danger. Lin Huanhuan realized with a start that the females here held a high status, exempt from labor, and were allowed to have multiple mates, living in luxury and privilege. Hearing this, Lin Huanhuan's eyes widened in disbelief, her pupils growing as large as saucers. She thought to herself, the women here are truly lucky. However, Lin Huanhuan couldn't help but feel uneasy when thinking about the many wolves surrounding the females. Being surrounded by so many perverts is honestly too scary, she thought to herself. Bai Di noticed her growing unease and gently patted her shoulder, whispering reassurance, "Don't worry, follow me, we're going to see the vet." As they walked, Frostcloud, standing off to the side, caught sight of the two of them and his eyes lit up. "Isn't that Bai Di?" Bai Di had always been a solitary figure, never seen with a female companion. What could have brought him to bring one along today? Frostcloud's curiosity deepened. After a short while they arrived at the vet's clinic. A worn wooden sign hung above the door with the words "Vet Clinic" painted on it, exuding an old-fashioned rustic charm. When the vet saw Lin Huanhuan's almost otherworldly beauty, his eyes instantly lit up as if he had seen a priceless treasure. He jumped up in excitement. "Little female, how many male companions do you have?" The vet asked eagerly, his eyes gleaming with a strange, probing interest, as if assessing Lin Huanhuan's future. Bai Di quickly stepped in front of Lin Huanhuan, his gaze turning cold and sharp. "This is my female. No one dares to lay a hand on her." His tone was firm, filled with an undeniable threat. The vet's face darkened immediately, his expression turning as grim as a bottomless pit. "You actually found a female companion? Damn, I'm envious as hell. It's a pity for our wolf clan with so many single male wolves fighting for one female. It's like a bloodied war where heads are smashed together," the vet said with a bitter laugh, a mix of frustration and sarcasm in his voice. Lin Huanhuan stood frozen in place, feeling speechless. This old man really enjoys his theatrics, she thought to herself, sensing the subtle mischief in his words. The vet took out a cloth bag, opening it with care. "The little female isn't sick. She's just physically delicate and needs some extra care." He pulled out a few strange-looking fruits, brightly colored and odd in shape, and offered them to Lin Huanhuan. "These are local specialties, they'll help strengthen your body." Lin Huanhuan hurriedly shook her head, trying to refuse, but the old man was persistent, pressing the fruits into her hands with no intention of letting her go. Leaning closer to her ear, the vet whispered, "The young men of our wolf clan are all handsome and gentle. You could stay a few more days and see if you like any of them." His tone was playful, leaving Lin Huanhuan blushing slightly. Bai Di, hearing this, immediately became furious. His anger flared up, and the atmosphere around him darkened with a dangerous edge. Without a moment's hesitation, he yanked Lin Huanhuan away from the vet, his eyes cold and his voice firm. "No need. I will take care of my female myself." His words were like a sharp blade, cutting through any potential interference with absolute finality. Soon they arrived at the market, where countless stalls filled with vibrant goods created a lively contrast to the tension they had just experienced. Bai Di suddenly remembered that Lin Huanhuan was still only wrapped in a single pelt, her lower half exposed. Bai Di decided to buy a few proper clothes for Lin Huanhuan. After all, she was still only wrapped in a pelt and it was becoming quite inconvenient. The clothes here were all made from genuine leather, heavy and rugged, carrying the primal wild essence of the beastmen. Each piece exuded a raw, untamed aura, a symbol of the world they belonged to. Lin Huanhuan casually picked out a garment and ran to a corner to change. Though the size was off, she figured she could make do with it for now. However, the clothes in this world were absurdly large. Once she put it on, she could practically stand upright inside it, the clothes so roomy they could easily fit two of her. She tried to alter the size, but all she had were rough twine and stone needles. The tools were crude, yet she was determined, thinking hard about how to make the clothes fit. Just when she was about to give up, a sudden idea sparked in her mind. She quickly removed the pin from her hair tie, deciding to use it to fasten the clothes. It wasn't a perfect solution, but it would have to do for now. Meanwhile, Bai Di approached the vendor, took out a few gold coins and asked calmly, "Do you have anything in a smaller size?" His tone had a hint of impatience, clearly not wanting to see Lin Huanhuan struggle with ill-fitting clothes. The vendor, a cheerful money-minded old man, laughed so hard his teeth almost fell out. You can try on a few more sets, maybe one will fit. His words carried a playful tease, clearly enjoying the situation. At that moment, Lin Huan had already changed into her new clothes. Though not perfect, they fit much better than before. She walked out from the corner wearing the new attire, feeling a little more comfortable. The two beastmen stood frozen, their eyes wide with disbelief, their vision filled with golden stars, as though they had just been struck by lightning at the sight of her beauty. One of them, like a love-struck youth, let out an excited shout, overwhelmed with enthusiasm that words couldn't seem to capture. Lin Huan instinctively covered her chest, feeling like the center of attention, not knowing how to handle the sudden focus on her. Bai Di immediately approached her, his eyes filled with admiration as he exclaimed, "So beautiful!" Before he could finish, Lin Huan's face turned as red as a ripe apple, her shyness almost tangible. Lin Huan gave a light smile, scratching her head to ease the awkwardness, and then quickly changed the subject. "Haha, so do you have shoes?" The beastmen were confused, their faces filled with question marks. They had never heard of such a thing as shoes and were baffled by the request. Lin Huan suddenly remembered that she was in the beast world and beastmen would never wear shoes. They were one with nature, their connection to the earth far more intimate. However, Bai Di's gaze unintentionally fell on her delicate feet, noticing the small cuts and bruises scattered across them. His heart ached at the sight of her tender skin marred by rough terrain. He immediately turned to the vendor and ordered, "Get her a pair of leather shoes, something that fits properly." His tone was firm without hesitation. Lin Huan took the leather shoes from him, a wave of gratitude rising in her chest. She hadn't expected Bai Di to be so thoughtful, noticing her injuries, and though life here was harsh, his tenderness brought a sense of warmth to her heart. With the powerful tiger beast by her side, Lin Huan suddenly felt that this world wasn't so terrifying after all. Bai Di's presence seemed to form a barrier, protecting her from the unknown dangers around them. They turned around, ready to leave, when suddenly a deep voice from a wolf beast called out to them. "The shaman invites you to visit," the wolf beast said, his voice carrying an air of mystery and unease. As soon as Bai Di heard this, he sensed something was wrong. His brow furrowed in suspicion as he surveyed their surroundings with heightened caution. "The wolf clan has more males than females and most of them are single. My female cannot stay here." His tone was firm and resolute, clearly expressing his concern for Lin Huan's safety. Without another word, Bai Di swiftly turned and led Lin Huan away, his steps purposeful as if any hesitation could lead to an unbearable outcome. Meanwhile, the werewolf Frostcloud had just returned from a hunt, still carrying the scent of fresh blood. A wolf beast shouted excitedly at him, "Frostcloud, the tribe has a little female so beautiful she's practically glowing." His voice was filled with admiration and envy. Frostcloud didn't even acknowledge the wolf beast. With a casual smile, he kept walking, his steps confident and unfazed by the chatter around him. When he reached the entrance of the cave, he heard a faint, muffled sound coming from inside, a mix of soft hums and quiet gasps as if something was happening within. Frostcloud saw several male beastmen surrounding a female, the atmosphere growing ambiguous, causing a surge of displeasure and anger to rise within him. That female was none other than Frostcloud's mother. Frostcloud, seeing the scene, was instantly consumed by anger. His emotions surged as he threw the prey he was holding to the ground. It tumbled through the air before crashing down. Without a moment's hesitation, Frostcloud spun around and stormed out, his steps swift and determined as if the entire world no longer mattered. Meanwhile, Bai Di was preparing to go hunting, his expression grim as if a confrontation was about to unfold. He turned to Lin Huan, his tone carrying a hint of authority but also concern. "Stay here and don't wander off." Lin Huan couldn't help but feel a sense of relief, her lips curling into a sly grin. "Ha ha ha, the big tiger's finally gone." She felt a sense of freedom she hadn't experienced before. She quickly took out the fire tinder, her heart racing with anticipation. To her surprise, it actually sparked to life, the faint glow growing brighter as it caught. Thrilled, she eagerly began roasting the meat, the rich aroma filling the air. Her spirits lifted with every crackling sound, and the exhaustion she felt seemed to vanish into the warmth of the fire. The book in her bundle finally caught her attention. It was a detailed guide filled with information about the world she was in. Flora and fauna, tribal histories, survival tactics. Every page seemed to hold new secrets, and Lin Huanhuan eagerly began to read, her curiosity sparked. This was a world where males outnumbered females, and the law of the jungle reigned supreme, making every female a rare and precious being. In this world, females were allowed to have multiple mates, a freedom and privilege unimaginable in other places. Lin Huanhuan couldn't help but think to herself, this world is so wild. It's completely different from anything I know. She sighed and closed the book, trying to process all the new and strange information before her. Suddenly, a waft of burnt yet oddly savory aroma filled the air, immediately catching her attention. She realized with a start that she had burnt the meat. The charred skin gave off a strange scent and she frowned in slight annoyance. Just then Bai Di returned from his hunt. And as soon as he entered the cave, he noticed the flickering firelight. Instantly, a feeling of unease washed over him. Thinking Lin Huanhuan might be in danger, he rushed inside without hesitation. But when he saw what was happening, he froze in place, utterly speechless. The once delicate little fairy had turned into a little kitten, busying herself with the charred meat. As soon as Bai Di stepped into the cave and saw the dancing flames and smoky aroma, his pupils shrank. He roared in panic, "The place is on fire. Run!" Lin Huanhuan, completely calm, grabbed a steaming skewer of roasted meat and stuffed it into his mouth, cutting off his alarm mid-roar. "Relax. I started the fire," she said with a cheeky grin. "Try it. Tastes good, right?" Having never eaten cooked food before, Bai Di was momentarily stunned. His eyes widened as the crisp, juicy flavor exploded in his mouth. "This is insanely delicious." After that first bite, the little tiger was hooked. One taste was all it took for him to spiral into a frenzy of appetite. Without hesitation, he threw all the prey he'd brought back onto the fire, roasting everything. Not a single piece was spared. The two of them feasted happily, savoring every bite like it was the most divine food they'd ever eaten. By the end, both were stuffed to the brim, hiccuping between laughter, completely satisfied. After the hearty meal, Lin Huanhuan curled up on Bai Di's broad tiger back. The fire flickered gently as her breathing slowed and relaxed. His back was warm, plush, and comforting, just like a giant living fur blanket. She felt herself melt into it, wrapped in perfect, cozy peace. As Lin Huanhuan was about to rest against Bai Di's back, she suddenly noticed a deep scratch across his striped fur, the dried blood hinting at how long it had gone untreated. She quickly pulled out a small cloth pouch, rummaging through it for the few clean cloth strips and herbal paste she had saved. With delicate care, she cleaned the wound and wrapped it tightly, her movements precise and gentle, filled with a quiet tenderness she hadn't realized she possessed. Touched by her attentiveness, Bai Di suddenly began licking her face enthusiastically, like a giant over-affectionate cat. Lin Huanhuan squealed, laughing as she tried to fend him off. "Stop. That tickles." As night deepened and the fire crackled softly, the two of them curled up together, drifting into sleep, the warmth between them comforting and steady. But in the middle of the night, Lin Huanhuan suddenly felt a warm, damp sensation below. Her drowsiness vanished in an instant. She glanced down and froze. It was her period. Panic surged through her. In a primitive world with no sanitary pads or modern conveniences, she had absolutely no idea what to do. Bai Di stirred, sensing something was wrong. Half asleep, he mumbled in concern, "You're hurt?" Lin Huanhuan jumped up in shock, clutching her pelt tightly around her. In a flurry of panic, she blurted, "I'm not hurt," before dashing out of the cave, barefoot and red-faced. Bai Di grabbed Lin Huanhuan and yanked her back into the cave, panic written all over his face. "You're bleeding and still say you're not hurt? Do you think I'm blind?" Lin Huanhuan nearly died from embarrassment on the spot, face beet red. "You don't look, you perv." Bai Di looked genuinely confused and a little wronged. "I'm a tiger, not a wolf." Lin Huanhuan wanted to smash her head into a rock and disappear. She mumbled, "It's normal. I bleed for a few days every month. Then it stops." But Bai Di completely missed the point. All he heard was bleeding for days, and his face turned pale. He looked like she'd just told him her death was imminent. "No, I won't let you die," he shouted, scooping her up in his arms like she was a fragile treasure, sprinting full speed toward the healer. Lin Huanhuan was mentally collapsing. Seriously? It's just a period. Why does it feel like I'm being rushed to the ear? But Bai Di didn't hear a word. He was already tearing through the woods like a madman, convinced she was moments from death. Helpless, Lin Huanhuan wrapped herself up like a dumpling, only her wide, anxious eyes peeking out from the pelt. Over my dead body, she swore silently. Will anyone get a peek down there? Not gonna happen. Lin Huanhuan hurriedly explained, words tumbling out. Really, I'm fine. I bleed once a month. It stops on its own after a few days. The old healer blinked in astonishment, looking at her like she'd just performed a miracle. What? You bleed, and then heal yourself? He leaned in, his curiosity overflowing. Just what species are you? Without thinking, Lin Huanhuan blurted out, I'm human. The healer froze, utterly baffled. Human? What kind of beast is that? Wolf branch? Feline? Rabbit? Realizing her slip, Lin Huanhuan's heart skipped a beat. Crap, this was the beast world. Humans didn't exist here. Thinking fast, she faked a laugh and lied through her teeth. Oh, humans are actually a branch of the ape tribe. You know, evolved faster, and lost all their fur. To her amazement, the two muscular but not so bright beastmen nodded seriously, as if this explained everything. That's why she's so smooth and pale. Makes sense now. The old healer, mostly convinced, handed her a sack of carrot-like fruit. Take these. Good for blood. Eat a few and try not to scare your big tiger next time. Lin Huanhuan gratefully took the fruit, silently exhaling in relief. With a sweet, polite smile she said, Thank you, Grandpa Healer. The healer was stunned by Lin Huanhuan's gentle demeanor, staring at her as if he'd just discovered an entirely new species. After all, in this beastman world where males outnumbered females, females were treated like precious treasures. Most of them were spoiled, arrogant, and used to being waited on paw and foot. But Lin Huanhuan, she was soft-spoken, graceful, and considerate, like a breeze passing through a quiet spring forest. And her looks, delicate features, bright eyes, and a charm that seemed to glow, made her stunningly beautiful, unlike anything he'd ever seen. The old healer's eyes started to gleam with a sly light as the wheels in his mind began to turn. Maybe I should introduce her to our wolf clan chief, Frostcloud. He's still single, and this girl? She's a perfect match, he thought, already half planning the wedding. But the moment that thought formed, Bai Di shot him a death glare so fierce it could freeze lava. His eyes radiated danger, warning the old man to drop the idea immediately or else. The next morning, Lin Huanhuan, feeling refreshed, decided to make herself some proper clothes from beast hide. After all, wrapping herself in a giant pelt every day was starting to feel a bit too prehistoric. Unfortunately, as she worked, her finger slipped and got jabbed hard by a crude bone needle. Blood beaded up instantly and she sucked in a sharp breath, her eyes stinging from the sudden pain. Seeing her finger pricked and bleeding, the little tiger frowned deeply, heart aching. Stop. Let me do it. Without waiting for her reply, he gently took the beast hide and bone needle from her hands. To her surprise, he threaded the needle and began sewing. His claws surprisingly precise, his movements unexpectedly steady. Lin Huanhuan blinked in disbelief. He actually sewed a pair of underwear. She stared wide-eyed, her jaw nearly dropping. You actually know how to make that? What shocked her even more was how delicate it looked. The stitching was neat, the cut precise, and it even had a cute little shape. Bai Di didn't say a word. Instead, he stared at the finished product with wide eyes, then slowly shifted his gaze to Lin Huanhuan, expression unreadable. His cheeks flushed bright red and he swallowed hard, clearly trying to keep some inappropriate thoughts at bay. Then, almost involuntarily, his tiger paw crept forward, like he was curious how well it would fit. Lin Huanhuan gasped and jumped back, arms crossed protectively in front of her. Pervert! Where do you think you're touching? Facing Lin Huanhuan's accusation, Bai Di defended himself seriously. I'm a tiger, not a wolf. Don't lump me in with them. Lin Huanhuan pouted, eyeing him suspiciously. Is this tiger beast pretending to be clueless on purpose? Before she could think further, Bai Di suddenly lifted her foot without warning, swift and decisive. Lin Huanhuan froze, startled by his unexpected move, stiff as a statue. What are you doing now? she stammered. But then a strange tingling sensation started at the sole of her foot, spreading throughout her body like a wave. A light shiver ran up her spine and her cheeks flushed red. He had no idea what this tiger was up to. Was this some weird primitive flirting technique? Bai Di, completely unfazed, simply said, "Wait here." He pulled out a piece of soft beast hide and began working in silence. A short while later he presented her with a pair of handmade shoes, neatly stitched, properly shaped, and shockingly well crafted. Even more surprising, their lace-up styles, the trendiest she hasn't seen since the crossing. When Lin Huanhuan put them on, paired with the sleek little leather shorts Bai Di had made earlier, she looked like a full-on fashion queen of the primitive world. Instant style icon status. Unlocked. Lin Huanhuan tilted her head, eyeing her new shoes with satisfaction. Then curiosity struck. "Hey, why don't you make a pair for yourself? You've got serious talent." Bai Di shrugged casually. "Can't. Shoes get in the way when I shift into beast form. They'll crush my paws." Lin Huanhuan smacked her forehead. "Oh right. I keep forgetting you're actually a big, tiger." But the image popped into her head anyway. Bai Di in full tiger form, stomping around in 4 dainty lace-up shoes. She couldn't help it, she burst into giggles, hand covering her mouth, shoulders shaking as she tried to contain herself. Meanwhile, Frostcloud arrived at the healer's hut with a bundle of freshly gathered herbs in hand. As fate would have it, he turned the corner and saw Lin Huanhuan crouching by the supplies, rummaging through a bag for some fruit. His eyes narrowed. From his angle, it looked suspiciously like she was sneaking around. His expression darkened instantly. "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" Frostcloud stormed over, grabbing her wrist with surprising strength. "Shameless female, stealing?" he growled, radiating righteous fury like he was about to drag her to court on the spot. Lin Huanhuan was just about to speak and explain the misunderstanding, but her wrist was being squeezed tighter and tighter by Frostcloud, sharp pain shooting up her arm, her eyes beginning to sting. She snapped, yelling, "If you don't let go right now, I'm gonna scream for help." Frostcloud scoffed, his face twisted in disdain. "You've got the nerve to shout? A shameless little thief like you. That did it." Lin Huanhuan was fuming, practically breathing fire. Her whole chest rose with rage. Then her eyes lit up with an idea. She twisted slightly and screamed over his shoulder, "Healer!" As he instinctively turned to look, she launched herself forward and bam, slammed her head right into his jaw. The impact nearly transformed his delicate V-line into a solid square chin. Dazed, he stumbled back, eyes crossed, momentarily stunned. Lin Huanhuan jumped back, threw up a sloppy martial arts stance and cheekily waved her fists. "Come on then, big bad wolf. Fight me if you dare." Frostcloud's face darkened with fury, veins bulging. "You're dead meat." Lin Huanhuan's bravado vanished in an instant. She spun on her heel and bolted, legs pumping like a track star, fleeing for dear life. But Frostcloud was fast. He lunged forward and managed to grab a fistful of her hair. The soft, silky texture stunned him. For a moment, his fingers lingered, mesmerized by the unfamiliar sensation. His thoughts began to swirl, every image in his mind suddenly filled with Lin Huanhuan. Her voice, her skin, the warmth of her presence. She was nothing like the rough, wild females he'd met before. Her skin was smooth, clean, almost sacred. Lin Huanhuan thrashed, shouting furiously, "You pervert! Don't touch me! Let go of my hair!" Frostcloud jolted back to reality, shocked by his own behavior. "What the hell was I just doing?" he muttered. Lin Huanhuan didn't wait for him to process. She backed away, eyes wide with alarm, convinced he might try something again. Without hesitation, she grabbed a large clay jar, raised it high and shouted, "Pervert! Come any closer and I swear I'll smash your skull in." Frostcloud was completely confused. He had no idea what pervert meant, but from Lin Huanhuan's furious tone, he could tell it wasn't a compliment. His anger flared instantly and he raised a fist, ready to give her a lesson she wouldn't forget. "Stop right there." A loud shout cut through the tension. The old healer came charging out of nowhere and delivered a swift kick to Frostcloud's rear, sending him stumbling forward in surprise. The old man was livid, his beard trembling as he stomped the ground. "You idiot! Got air between your ears. No wonder you're doomed to be single for life. Frostcloud shrank back, properly scolded. He muttered under his breath, but she was stealing from you. That only made the healer angrier. His face turned red as he roared, she's my guest, you brainless pup. Get out of here. Realizing he'd messed up badly, Frostcloud bolted out the door without looking back, disappearing down the road in a blur. The healer turned around sheepishly, flashing Lin Huanhuan a stiff smile. Don't take it to heart. That kid's not actually bad. Just a little confused. Lin Huanhuan smiled lightly, brushing off her clothes. It's fine. I'm not angry anymore. Hearing that, the healer's eyes lit up. He thought maybe, just maybe, there was still hope for Frostcloud. But Lin Huanhuan's next words were like a sledgehammer to the face. I just know that if I ever see him again, I'm kicking his wolf head clean off. The healer's hopeful grin froze mid-air like a broken statue. Anyway, I'm never seeing him again, Lin Huanhuan said casually, but her words hit like a hammer. The old healer wiped the sweat from his forehead. Frostcloud was officially doomed. No coming back from that one. Just as he was about to speak up and plead a little on Frostcloud's behalf, in came Bai Di, returning from his hunt with the wind at his back, arms full of wild boar hides and carrying a bundle. Lin Huanhuan blinked at him, half pouting. What took you so long? I thought you turned wild and ran off for good. Bai Di answered matter-of-factly, you said you like collecting beast hides, right? I hunted several boars and skinned them all for you. Lin Huanhuan let out an awkward laugh. That was for a system task. You make me sound like some crazed skin harvesting maniac. Bai Di said nothing but quietly took note of that phrase. System task? So this little female definitely had secrets. And now he was even more intrigued. Without another word, he reached into his pack and with a smooth flourish, pulled out a bouquet of wildflowers. Then, would you like this instead? Lin Huanhuan froze for a moment, then her whole face lit up like sunshine through the clouds. She took the flowers with both hands, beaming with joy. The healer off to the side watched in silence, the corner of his mouth twitching wildly. Bai Di's flirting skills? On another level entirely. Frostcloud's still learning to walk while this guy's running marathons. Lin Huanhuan gently linked arms with Bai Di, and the two strolled off into the evening together, chatting softly, their silhouettes glowing in the firelight, leaving behind one old healer standing in the dust, sighing into the wind. As they wandered along, they unknowingly arrived at a sea of wildflowers. The landscape bloomed in every shade of color, the air filled with the fragrance of blossoms and a warm breeze. Lin Huanhuan's eyes lit up. She skipped ahead, laughing and twirling among the flowers like a child, arms spread wide. Wow, this place is amazing. For a moment she felt like she had returned to the carefree days of her childhood. Unbeknownst to her, Frostcloud was hidden behind a tree not far away, cloaked in shadows. His sharp eyes were locked on the pair, watching their every move with a storm of emotion in his heart. This woman, he thought, who's always yelling and exploding like a volcano. Why does she suddenly look cute? Watching her laugh in the flower field, so soft and joyful, completely threw him off guard. A blush crept onto his cheeks. He glanced away, flustered. No. I'm not supposed to think that. In his hand was a gift he had carefully prepared, something to express his apology. But the thought of being coldly rejected or worse, publicly humiliated by her sharp tongue made him hesitate. Finally he took a deep breath, steeled himself, and with a burst of courage he hurled the gift into the field like a ninja throwing a dart, then turned on his heel and sprinted away like his life depended on it. Lin Huanhuan was mid-spin when she heard a thud and saw a bundle drop beside her. She blinked, startled. She and Bai Di exchanged confused glances, then slowly approached it. They crouched down and carefully opened it, only to find it filled with plump red berries, vivid, fragrant, and undeniably fresh. Lin Huanhuan looked up at Bai Di, baffled. Where did these come from? Bai Di chuckled softly, his voice tinged with amusement. Looks like someone prepared this especially for you, little female. So, do you want to eat it? Lin Huanhuan looked at the juicy red berries, immediately imagining poisoned fruit, knockout drugs, and some ancient curse. She shook her head violently like a bobblehead doll. Nope, I'm not eating that. What if someone poisoned it? Bai Di, casually standing by, let his gaze drift toward her lower half, eyes narrowing slightly as he sniffed the air. Has the bleeding from your but stopped yet? Why do I still smell blood? He asked, completely serious and a little concerned. Lin Huanhuan nearly combusted from embarrassment. She clutched her backside with both hands, her voice jumping an octave. Don't stare, okay? It's only the second day. It usually lasts 5. Flustered beyond words, she shoved the berry bundle into the healer's arms like it was cursed. I don't even know who threw it. Here, you eat it. The old healer squinted at the fruit, a knowing grin spreading across his face. Looks like that Frostcloud kid finally grew a brain. He handed the fruit right back to her, chuckling. This was meant for you. He tossed it with all the courage he could muster. You should keep it. Then he spun around and made up an excuse so fast it should have been suspicious. My medicine pot. It's probably boiling over. Gotta go. Of course, he was actually speed walking straight toward Frostcloud, hands rubbing together, plotting how to nudge this chaotic ship of a relationship into harbor. Meanwhile, Frostcloud sat on a rock, holding a half-peeled wild fruit, staring off into the distance. His mind was full of Lin Huanhuan twirling through the flower field. She's annoying, he thought. But I kinda want to see her smile again. Just as Frostcloud was mindlessly poking a wild berry, a familiar voice called out behind him. The red berries, you were the one who sent them, right? The old healer strolled up casually, a sly grin playing at his lips. Frostcloud jumped like he'd been electrocuted. Red berries? I have no idea what you're talking about. The Tsundra little wolf absolutely refused to admit anything, his ears turning red while he averted his gaze like a guilty puppy. The healer chuckled and turned to walk away. All right then, I'll go get the berries back from Lin Huanhuan. If they weren't from you, she won't want to eat them anyway. Wait a second. Frostcloud blurted, panicked. It was me. Zist. Compensation. For the misunderstanding. Nothing else. The healer covered his mouth to hide his laugh. Sure. Little wolf cub, sounds like you've got a little crush, huh? Frostcloud's entire face lit up like a bonfire. Speechless, he turned and ran. I'm not listening. Watching him flee, the healer shook his head and snickered. Heh, looks like this kid's still got a chance. A few days later, Lin Huanhuan's monthly struggle finally came to an end. She felt like a brand new person, refreshed, light, and ready to take on the world. Bai Di stood beside Lin Huanhuan, his gaze fixed on the thickening clouds overhead. His tone was low and resolute. We should leave. This isn't a place to stay long. But before he could take a step, the old healer practically jumped into his path. Wait. You can't leave now. He waved his hands urgently, eyes wide. Winter's coming fast. If you leave the wolf clan now, you won't survive out there. Bai Di paused, his brows furrowed, falling into deep thought. He knew all too well, once winter arrived, game would become scarce. Even the strongest clans would struggle. And Lin Huanhuan, she was too delicate for such a harsh season. Her body, unused to this world's extremes, wouldn't hold out. Without another word, he wrapped her tightly in his arms, his voice firm yet gentle. We'll stay. We'll survive the winter together. The healer clapped his hands excitedly. Wonderful. Come, I'll help you pick a good spot to build your winter home. Just then Lin Huanhuan heard a familiar ding. In her mind, the system chimed in. New mission triggered. Winter is approaching. Please build a proper shelter. Mission requirements. Construct a house no less than 40 square meters, equipped with essential furniture. Bed, chair, table, etc. Upon completion, a winter survival pack will be rewarded. Led by the healer Lin Huanhuan and Bai Di set off to find a spot to build their winter shelter. A mission that felt half survival, half real estate adventure. The wolf clan had long since prepared for the cold season. They'd carved dozens of tunnels into the rocky cliffs, creating a sprawling underground maze. The system of caves was complex and cleverly designed. Layers of chambers and passages stacked like a massive ant colony, offering warmth and protection during the harsh winter. Lin Huanhuan stepped into one of the caves, where the darkness was thick and complete. The air was cool, damp, and smelled faintly of stone and soil. Suddenly, several eerie glints flashed in the shadows, like glowing marbles floating in the blackness. She squinted and to her horror realized they were eyes. Beastmen eyes. At least a dozen pairs staring at her silently from within the gloom. With a gasp, she stumbled back, nearly collapsing, only to fall right into Baidi's arms. She clung to him, voice trembling. Did I just walk into a den of wild beasts? The healer chuckled heartily, clearly enjoying the moment. Relax. Those are just other wolf clan families. Now come on, pick a spot you like and start digging. Without a word, Baidi shifted into his tiger form, eyes gleaming with focus. He raised a paw and started digging furiously, wham wham wham, dirt and stone flying in all directions. In just a few powerful swipes, he carved out a neat, spacious cave. Efficiency, 10 out of 10. Lin Huanhuan stood in the freshly dug cave, hands on her hips, evaluating the space like a mini project manager. Livable but not quite big enough. The system won't approve this. She turned to Baidi with a commanding tone. Dig 2 more side rooms inside. 1 on each side. We need a kitchen and a storage area. Make it symmetrical. Baidi silently activated his excavator mode again, digging away non-stop. After half a day of hard labor, the cave finally met the system's square meter and layout requirements. Lin Huanhuan checked her task panel and smiled. 90% completed. Alright, now we just need the furniture. Her eyes sparkled with a DIY fire. We'll use wood to make our own furniture. Beds, tables, chairs, the full set. Baidi nodded, and together they headed into the forest, beginning their lumber collecting side quest. When they returned, arms full of wood, Lin Huanhuan froze mid-step. Wait, was that cave there before? A brand new entrance had appeared beside theirs, with fresh dirt still clinging to the edges and visible claw marks on the ground. She cautiously approached, peeked inside, and instantly felt her heart skip a beat. A familiar figure was sitting inside, half hugging a basket of fruit, stubbornly staring in her direction like he wasn't totally spying. Lin Huanhuan's eye twitched. Oh no, not him again. Can I live one drama-free day without this stupid wolf popping up? Yep. Her new neighbor? None other than her hair-pulling nemesis, Frostcloud. Back inside their cave, Lin Huanhuan was fuming. Her cheeks puffed up in anger. Seriously? That annoying guy just had to dig his stupid cave right next to mine. She stomped around, muttering furiously. This place is huge. He could have dug anywhere but knew he had to be my neighbor. Typical wolf behavior, born to provoke. Meanwhile, Baidi quietly worked in the corner. Soon enough, he finished assembling a large, sturdy wooden bed, smooth to the touch with carved tiger heads on the corners. Lin Huanhuan's anger melted away the moment she saw it. She ran her fingers over the polished wood, awe in her voice. Wow, this is like ancient luxury furniture. It's better than anything I had in the modern world. She threw herself into Baidi's arms, rubbing against him like a kitten. Baidi, you're amazing. I'm gonna live on this bed from now on, okay? Their lovey-dovey voices floated through the stone walls, landing squarely in Frostcloud's ears. In his cave, Frostcloud's expression darkened. His face flushed and steam practically rose from his head. What the hell was I thinking? Why did I move next to her? Listening to this sugar fest, I'm going to lose my mind. Just then Baidi took Lin Huanhuan's hand. Let's head back to the forest. I want to gather more wood, make you a whole furniture set. The couple set off together, side by side under the dappled forest light. Frostcloud poked his head out, glared at their backs, and then without a word stealthily followed them, crouching low like a bushy-tailed spy. Soon the 3 of them, 2 unaware, 1 creeping behind, stepped into the forest where the sunlight filtered gently through the trees, and a new chapter of tension, jealousy, and chaos was quietly brewing. Baidi, in his tiger form, slashed through thick tree trunks with his razor-sharp claws, taking down massive logs with ease. His movements were swift, powerful, and unshakably cool. Lin Huanhuan clapped her hands in delight, eyes sparkling. Wow, Baidi, you're amazing. Like a walking chainsaw. Overcome with admiration, she darted over and planted a kiss right on his furry tiger cheek, leaving behind a loud smooch and a very visible kiss mark. In the bushes, Frostcloud watched with growing horror. That scene hit him like a truckload of dog food. Affection overload. He gritted his teeth, claws extended, bristling with frustration. My claws are just as good. Why doesn't she ever ask me for help? Once the first batch of wood was chopped, Baidi and Lin Huanhuan began hauling it back in loads. Knowing she'd tire quickly, Bai Di insisted she stay and guard the remaining wood. Lin Huan agreed, but as she sat alone in the quiet forest, she couldn't help but feel a chill. The shadows suddenly seemed a bit too quiet. Sensing her unease, Bai Di scooped her up without warning and leapt onto a tall tree, gently placing her on a sturdy branch with a perfect vantage point. "Stay here. I'll be back soon," he said softly, voice filled with protectiveness. His tiger eyes were calm, strong, and utterly reassuring. Perched high on the tree, Lin Huan basked in dappled sunlight while leisurely flipping through her system-issued book, Encyclopedia of Plants and Beasts. Red berries have a laxative effect? No wonder Frostcloud always looks so cleansed. Little did she know, hiding in the nearby underbrush, Frostcloud was watching her like a hawk, his eyes locked on her every movement. The longer he stared, the more anxious he got. That tiger seriously left her up there alone? What if something attacks her? And just like that, the universe answered his concern. A mutated giant spider, the size of a human fist, silently crept down from the tree above. Its 8 spiny legs tapped the bark ominously, and in the next moment, it spat a web of toxic silk, lunging straight for Lin Huan. Lin Huan had just turned to the spider page in her book. One glance upward and there it was. Her mind went blank. She shrieked, slipped, and fell from the tree with a scream worthy of an opera house. Just when she thought she'd be flattened like a pancake, Frostcloud shot out from the bushes, arms wide, and caught her in a perfect hero landing pose. Their eyes met. Faces close. Breathing synced. Time froze. Even the birds stopped chirping. Lin Huan blinked. Then looked down. Then her face crumbled. "Oh, I think I peed my diaper." Realizing she was still nestled in Frostcloud's arms, Lin Huan's face turned beet red. She scrambled backward while he also instinctively jerked away, both acting like they'd been electrocuted. But before the awkwardness could even settle, Frostcloud's expression changed. He shouted, "Behind you, look out." The giant mutated spider came charging back with vengeance. Venom dripping, red eyes glowing. In a blur, Frostcloud lunged forward, pulling Lin Huan behind him with one swift motion. He stood protectively in front of her, back straight, arms wide, shielding her from danger. Then he let out a thunderous wolf howl that shook the treetops, turned slightly to bark at her. "Run!" And with that he transformed into his beast form, a massive gray wolf, fur bristling with power. Without a second's hesitation he launched himself at the spider like a storm. In just a few swift, savage moves he clawed and bit the creature into submission. The spider collapsed, twitching on the forest floor. Lin Huan stood there, jaw slack, staring in disbelief. Did he just go full action hero? When Frostcloud returned to human form, still tangled in webs, she hurried over, cheeks flushed. Thank you for saving me." He gave her a mischievous sideways glance, a smirk tugging at his lips. "Just a thank you? That's kinda cheap, don't you think?" Lin Huan spun around, fuming, hands on her hips. "What do you want? You saved me and now you're all sleazy." Frostcloud smirked, eyes twinkling with mischief. "I want you to be my mate." Her face went bright red, steam practically coming out of her ears. "You dirty wolf. Keep dreaming." With that she huffed, turned on her heel and stormed off, each step punctuated by sheer indignation. But she had barely gone a few meters when, thud, a heavy crash sounded behind her. Frostcloud collapsed. Turns out he had been poisoned during the fight. The venom was finally kicking in, numbing his limbs and draining his strength. Gritting his teeth he chuckled bitterly. Seriously? A mighty wolf warrior taken down by a spider? If the clan hears about this, I'll be a meme by sunset. Just as darkness began creeping in and he prepared for the worst, he heard footsteps. Lin Huan had come back. He quickly shoved his swollen foot into the bushes, pretending nothing was wrong. "What? Changed your mind? Here to accept my proposal?" Lin Huan rolled her eyes so hard they almost got stuck. "I came back to grab my bag, not to marry you, delusional wolf." She bent down to pick up her things, then froze. Out of the corner of her eye she spotted his foot. Swollen like a balloon, dark purple and pulsing. He was poisoned. Lin Huan narrowed her eyes, expression stern. "You're poisoned, aren't you?" But Frostcloud, ever the stubborn wolf, snapped back with a glare. Get lost. I hate females the most. She stepped forward trying to check his wound, but he scowled and barked, Don't touch me. Just leave already. Lin Huan exhaled sharply, lips curling into a cold smirk. Fine. Lie there and die for all I care. She turned on her heel and marched away. Frostcloud watched her go and a strange emptiness crept into his chest. Figures. All females are the same, cold, heartless and quick to walk away. His strength drained away. The forest blurred. His eyes fluttered shut as unconsciousness took hold. But then hurried footsteps. A familiar voice rang out. Frostcloud, don't you dare die on me. Lin Huan came sprinting back, arms full of fresh herbs. She skidded to his side, finding him pale, lips blue and trembling. You idiot, she muttered. Without hesitation, she pulled out her dagger and made a quick incision on his wrist to help drain the poisoned blood. Then she mashed up the herbs and slapped a thick layer onto his wound, her hands steady despite her grumbling. You and that mouth. If I wasn't such a decent person, I should have let you rot here. Lin Huan followed the instructions from the plant and beast guide like her life depended on it. Alright, here goes nothing. Dead wolf or not, we're going full herbal ER. Just as she pressed the last poultice in place, Frostcloud suddenly jolted upright like he'd been zapped, gasping loudly. He blinked at her dazedly, her face hovering above his, and thought groggily, she's here? Did I die? Is this some kind of final vision before I fade into the afterlife? Lin Huan let out a long sigh of relief, wiping sweat from her brow. Finally. Any later and I was seriously going to bury you next to the spider. She held up 2 fingers in front of his face. How many fingers do you see? Frostcloud squinted. Huh. Is your hand broken or something? Lin Huan paused. Then facepalmed. Right. Beastmen don't know how to count. Why the heck did I just quiz him like a preschooler? As she chuckled at herself, Frostcloud looked down and murmured, Thank you. For saving me. Lin Huan immediately leaned closer, cupping her ear. What was that? I think the wind covered it. Blushing furiously, Frostcloud gritted his teeth and practically shouted, I said thank you. Lin Huan bit her lip to keep from laughing, her whole body shaking with barely contained amusement. Still didn't catch that. Can you say it one more time, maybe louder and with more feeling? After all the teasing, Frostcloud finally snapped. Face bright red, he shouted, I said, you're a big fat idiot. Lin Huan's temper flared in an instant. You're the idiot. I saved your life and you yell at me? Maybe the venom went straight to your brain. The 2 of them exploded into a full-blown shouting match, hurling insults like grenades. Lin Huan gritted her teeth. Saving you was a mistake. Should have let you marry that spider instead, you pervy wolf. Just as things were heating up, the sound of footsteps rustled through the trees. Bai Di had returned, with several other beastmen behind him, all carrying supplies and exuding serious alpha energy. When they saw the massive spider corpse, everyone froze, spines stiffening. Even experienced warriors knew better than to tangle with that kind of monster. Bai Di walked straight over, wrapped an arm around Lin Huan's waist and said with calm authority, Thank you for saving my mate. Frostcloud's face didn't flinch, but his mind was racing. This tiger. He's thanking me with his mouth but warning me with his eyes. He glanced at Bai Di's entourage, all of them mated males. Clever bastard. He brought back up that's guaranteed not to flirt. Sneaky tiger. Real sneaky. Back in the cave, Lin Huan muttered under her breath. Men. All trouble, while laying out freshly cleaned hides as bedsheets and pillowcases. At least she'd have a comfy spot to sleep, without dreaming about spider husbands. As Lin Huan looked around the cave, now adorned with soft hide bedding, handmade pillows and neatly arranged wood piles, she finally exhaled with satisfaction. Finally feels like a home. Just then a familiar ding echoed in her ear. The system chimed in. Congratulations, host. You've completed one of the survival questlines, Warm Shelter Construction. Reward incoming. With a sudden flash of light, something heavy thudded onto the ground in front of her. Lin Huan gasped, eyes sparkling. A wok. I finally get to cook real food. Bai Di wandered over and picked up the spatula, giving the pan a few solid taps. Clang clang clang. What kind of weapon is this? Sounds sturdy. He held the spatula like an axe, clearly ready to duel someone with it. Lin Huanhuan burst out laughing and took it from him. No, it's not for fighting. This is an iron wok. It's for stir-frying food. She got right to work, lighting a fire, adding oil, tossing in chopped meat. The sizzle was music to her ears and the smell quickly filled the cave. The moment that rich, meaty aroma hit Bai Di's nose, his tiger ears perked up and his mouth began to water. His eyes locked on the sizzling pan. It smells like 10 times better than raw meat. Lin Huanhuan filled a bowl with hot, fragrant meat soup, blew on it gently and handed it to Bai Di. Here, try a taste of top-tier human cuisine. Bai Di didn't hesitate. He dove in with gusto, devouring it with loud slurp sounds, clearly in meat heaven. Watching him eat so happily, Lin Huanhuan hesitated, then glanced toward the neighboring cave. Maybe I should give Frostcloud a bowl too? He did save me after all. Bai Di paused mid-slurp, his eyes darkening slightly. Give it to me. I'll take it. He walked into Frostcloud's cave with the bowl in hand. Frostcloud looked up and scowled. What do you want? Bai Di held out the bowl, tone sharp. You want it or not? If not, I'm taking it back. Frostcloud snatched the bowl immediately, glaring. She sent you, didn't she? Bai Di snorted coldly, turning on his heel and walking away without a word, leaving only the warm scent of soup lingering in the air. Back in her cave, Lin Huanhuan leaned against a pillow made of beast hide, completely stuffed. She gave a satisfied little burp and patted her belly. I should win an award for this soup. Bai Di returned, lips curled into a smile that could melt glaciers. He leaned down beside her and whispered, Thank you. The soup you made was delicious. Lin Huanhuan looked at Bai Di's soft, teasing smile, his deep voice, his fierce tiger aura laced with tenderness, and suddenly her heart did a backflip. Wow, you're so handsome. Bai Di raised a brow and winked, unleashing a gaze so sultry it could melt steel. His eyes shimmered with mischief, and the air practically filled with sparkles and pink bubbles. But just as Lin Huanhuan began to drift into his charm, something clicked in her brain. She noticed his gaze turning hazy, almost smoldering. His nose even looked a little red. Her eyes widened in horror. Wait a second. This tiger, he's not being sweet, he's going into heat. He's trying to flirt. Panic surged through her. Nope, she shouted, spinning on her heel and sprinting. I am not emotionally prepared for this. But no matter how fast she ran, there was no outrunning a tiger. In a blink, Bai Di darted forward, scooped her up from behind and pulled her tightly into his arms. His embrace was warm, solid, and unmistakably possessive. She squirmed a little, but it was like trying to wriggle out of a fortress.